Good evening, everyone. Sorry you caught me mid-gulp then. Well, it's Friday. Cheers. Oh, dear me, I can't tell. I just couldn't wait until it went live. It's been a long one this week. Cheers, everyone. Oh, right then. Before we start, you can stop nagging. It's empty, okay? I empty it when it gets full. And when it's full, it looks full. And there's obviously been a couple of videos where that's been in shot, where, the waste paper basket has been bothering some people's OCD. But there you go. Anyway, how's everyone doing? What beer is that, Carl? Are you talking about the Saint Etienne? That's what I'm on because I've been to Aldi shopping this week. This is essentially Aldi's kind of Harley Benton version of Stella, if you get the idea. It's not a bad drop. It's perfectly quaffable. Good afternoon from Florida, says Michael. Well, good evening from Redcar. Yeah, I gather a lot of people have had rain today. We haven't, but my missus is supposed to be selling her jewellery on the craft market tomorrow, and that's been cancelled because it's forecast to be, like sideways rain and gale force winds and everything. So, it's that's put the kibosh on that. Anyway, as I usually do around about this time on a Friday, how do you think the first pint sofas? Don't know. As I usually do this time on a Friday, let me tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. Tomorrow is another one of my kind of Saturday jam solos kind of things about a genre of music that dare not speak its name. It's one of those Marmite divisive styles of music, and I haven't even put the type of music in the title of the video, so you'll just have to watch and find out. But I've been getting a few requests about an easy entry level way into that style of playing, so that's what's going up tomorrow. Monday there is, well, do you remember a few weeks ago when I did I did a video called an iconic 70s sax solo on guitar? Everybody assumed it was Baker Street, and it wasn't. It was Will You by Hazel O'Connor. Well, not tomorrow, Monday, we are doing Baker Street, but not the sax part, which wasn't played by Bob Holness, by the way. Not the sax part. We are doing the guitar solo from Baker Street. And then on Tuesday, well, you can see one of the guitars back there behind me, the Harley Benton SC Junior, like the single cut Les Paul Junior kind of thing. That's going up against a similarly priced Epiphone in a bit of a single cut shootout. Wednesday is going to be a lesson video. I haven't quite decided what yet. I'm thinking maybe legato, but if anybody's got any... No, not bossa nova, mate, not bossa nova. Haven't had any requests for that one yet, but there's always time, I suppose. Wednesday's video is a lesson video, probably going to be on legato, but if anybody has any suggestions that tickle my fancy, more than that. Evening, Steve. How are you, mate? Evening, Deco. Then please feel free to let me know. Then on Thursday, a new series of videos. You remember how, like, the past few weeks I've been doing, kind of budget review, not reviews, but kind of window shopping. What's the best Les Paul for under 300 quid? What's the best Telecaster for under 300 quid? That kind of thing. Well, we're turning that on its head, and I'm thinking of calling this series of videos, what? how much. It's like basically how much can you spend on ... insert style of guitar, you know. So if you've got like $6,000 to spend and you're determined to spend it all on a Strat or a Les Paul or something like that, you know, just basically to have a look behind the curtain into that world and see exactly what you get for your money, and maybe think, well, is it worth it? It's obviously difficult to tell without the guitars here to play, but you know, it fascinates me that a guitar can cost that much. And just interested to drill down into the specs and see what you get for those style of guitars. And it'll be fun. It'll be, you know, just lots of looking at and drooling over expensive guitars. Has the wife said you love your guitars more than me? Not to me face, she hasn't. Not to me face. No, but then again, you see, I think she just knows it's who I am and it's what I do. And, you know, she's got a jewelry making that she's been into for forever. And, you know, and she has her things that she likes to do. And, you know, it's, you know, we both kind of take that on board. I think she's glad I don't get under her feet all day, to be honest with you. Oh, dear me, seems Firefox hates me. Had to swap to Microsoft Edge to watch this. Fair enough. I've never had any problem. I've been using Firefox for years. Since, well, I've never used Microsoft Edge because I've always, I mean, I still remember the days of Netscape Navigator. Anyone else remember that? First browser I ever used. And then, like most people, I went to Internet Explorer and then Chrome, and now been using Firefox for about 10 years now. Oh, dear me, that's tasting rather good tonight. It could get rather messy, I'm afraid. So let's just read some of the chat. Oh, someone else, new guitar day. Ibanez TMB 30 bass. Excellent. First ever go on bass. Yeah. Every time I pick up a bass and start playing, you know, when I'm doing these backing tracks and stuff for lessons and for, you know, videos and stuff, I got to be honest with you, the part I always enjoy doing the most is playing the bass part. It's just something about just the way the bass just is the glue that holds it all together and just makes it all knit together and just locking in with the drums and everything. I love playing bass. I could easily have become a bass player, and then, you know, I hear my pal Steve Hoggart play bass. He's like a cross between Jaco Pastorius and Billy Sheehan when he picks up a bass. He is a monster, but he's so tight in the groove and everything as well. I've played with him on a couple of like just jam gigs and stuff over the years, and he can play. He's a monster on the bass. Thank you everybody for being so complimentary about that interview I did with him, by the way, and I hope you've all subscribed to his channel, because he's just Yoda when it comes to, you know, recording and bass playing and anything and everything musical, basically. Thank you, Craig. I must apologize for the audio on that video, by the way. I don't know what happened. It seemed after it was uploaded to only be in mono on one channel. It was fine before I uploaded it, but something about the upload, I don't know if it got corrupted or anything, but I've been trying to fix it, but I don't think YouTube allow you to kind of strip the audio out of a video and upload a corrected version of it. Oh, I see Bottleneck Bob's in. Bottleneck Bob Bridge. Great lad. Cheers, Bob. Beer o'clock is 6 in our house, John, but I think our clock is wrong. Yes, well, you see, 6 o'clock on a Friday, that's curry o'clock. I was a busy boy this week, and I've made a big. We've got this 2-gallon cooking pot, and every now and again, I just make a big batch of curry in it and freeze it. So we're having my homemade curry this evening. Where are we? I have a cheeky question. Anyone got lessons from Rob Greco in Nottingham? Nope. But I'll tell you who is a good teacher who does Skype lessons. It's always 6 o'clock somewhere. I've got to do a small 5-minute guitar performance of what I've learned for charity at a work teams meeting next Friday. We'll do a medley of my own songs, but I'm really nervous. Any advice? Yes. Dave Simpson was talking about this on one of his videos a while ago. And he says it's like when he picks up the guitar, he's putting on a costume, and that now he's playing a character. And that's what you got to do. You just got to kind of become another person. Well, not another person, but you're playing a role, and just be a bit method actorish, and inhabit that role. Talking about method acting, do you know that story about the movie Marathon Man? This is just the random stuff that comes into my head. I do apologise. Laurence Olivier and Dustin Hoffman, and Dustin Hoffman's kind of, doing kind of star jumps and kind of, press ups and all kinds of stuff. And Olivier says to him, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, for this next scene, I need to be out of breath and kind of looking like I've just been training." And Olivier goes to him and says, "Dear boy, why didn't you just act?" Which I thought was brilliant. But getting up on your hind legs in front of an audience, especially an audience of your peers, is it can be nerve-wracking. So just be a character, just try being this other version of yourself. I always found that finding the ugliest bugger in the audience and staring them out helps performance anxiety. I got to tell you that I used to suffer from that a little bit in the first couple of years after I started teaching, because, I was, I had a big advert in the local paper, John Robson guitar lessons, and if I was at a gig somewhere and I saw kind of guys in the audience who like Andy Power, for example, or even Steve Hoggart, who I was thinking, I've got to impress these guys. I'm a guitar teacher. I've got a reputation to hold up. And then I just thought, well, you know what? I'm gigging tonight, and they're not. So that was the way I dealt with it. I used to find doing solo cover gigs in restaurant was more nerve-wracking than playing my own stuff in bigger venues. Yeah, I've done the whole restaurant thing as well. There was a Greek restaurant in Stockton years ago where I had a regular gig there. Just used to go and sit with a little practice amp and sit in the corner and just noodle, just improvise, just bluesy kind of chord melody sort of stuff. And it was a good gig, and used to get a free meal as part of the gig, and get a bit of cash in hand at the end of it. And then the restaurant got closed down because there were cockroaches in the kitchen apparently. And you think, oh my God, I've eaten there. Looks like a Gordon Smith guitar collection is up for sale on eBay, about 5 or 6 of them. Well, somebody's going to be getting some rather nice guitars then. New guitar day for me, a Gretsch G2110 Streamliner. Oh, that sounds about nice. Arrived about 45 minutes ago. Do you know what? It's when a guitar arrives, because 2 of them have arrived today. No, when was it? A couple of days ago, but I unboxed them today. The Harley Benton and the Epiphone that I mentioned earlier. and you get that big box, and it's like, I've got to make some mess now. I've got to kind of get these polystyrene packing peanut things all over the place, and and then I've got to find somewhere to store the boxes and everything. But isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it? Just that it's like being a kid on Christmas morning again, isn't it? My tip for nerves is to pay attention to your body physically. Concentrate on relaxing your muscles and breathing normally. If your body tenses up physically, your mind will be quite happy to follow. That's a good point. Now, many years ago, I was talking about this kind of thing of just chilling out and getting ready for a performance. This is, in all seriousness, this works. Okay. It was a mate of mine who was, we lost touch a while ago, but he was a bit of an actor, and that's who gave me the tip about inhabiting a role, and then Dave Simpson mentioned it as well. It's this thing called square breathing, where you breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, and then hold that for a count of 4. And you do that maybe 4 or 5, half a dozen times, and you'd be amazed how relaxed you are after you've done it. It's a fantastic little technique for just, if you feel like you're kind of getting a little bit on edge and a little bit nervy about going on stage or whatever, try doing that. Did you ever go on slosh during your club days? What was your ale policy? I did do one gig where I was a little bit worse for wear, it has to be said, and it was such a bad experience. I got through it. Fortunately, there was nothing taxing to play. But I got through it, and I thought, just no, never again. I didn't enjoy that. So I always saved the beer for afterwards, and it's easily done. It's easily done because, you get to, especially when you play in the clubs, they want you there and set up and sound checked and everything before, well before the punters are in. So then you've got this big yawning gap of time, maybe an hour and a half, before you go on for your first set. And if you're a bit nervous, then it's all too easy to just start kind of chucking it down. And I just didn't enjoy the gig, and I didn't enjoy the drink either. So never again. I've played more than one gig hungover. Oh dear me, there was a Boxing Day gig I did once, where I'd been absolutely lashing it in all day Christmas Day, and completely forgot that I was supposed to be gigging on the Boxing Day. And I thought, well, I'll be all right. It's on the night time, and I wasn't. Oh, I was like death warmed up. So, don't play drunk and don't play hungover. I know from experience that a free bar at a gig is bad news. Yeah. Yeah, Steve, I know what you mean. Usually, the thing is, when you're playing the clubs up here, it was all done in the van. You just the van used to come round and pick you up, and it was usually like the roadie driving the van, so everybody could have a drink if they wanted to. And there was, we used to keep a crate of beer in the van for afterwards. Like a big sort of 24-pack kind of thing, which split kind of between us. It wasn't a lot, but it was that there was beers afterwards. Put it that way. Where are we? Took delivery on Wednesday of one of those Fender Tone Master Twins. Amazing. Can't tell the difference between it and a tube twin. Being of the female persuasion, it's a Fender amp I can actually lift. Yeah, yeah. Fender amps, they aren't built for people who don't like heavy things, are they? Evening, Jeff. Jeff Proctor. It's one of my students. He's in. Good evening, Jeff. What are you on tonight, mate? But I have heard good things about those Fender amps. I am looking at getting a little bit better of a setup in terms of, kind of reviewing and demoing amps, because this here is the only real mic I've got. So I'm thinking of, kind of investing in, some more infrastructure, shall we say, so I can do amp reviews and learn and teach myself a little bit about miking up and everything, basically, because it's not something I have a vast wealth of experience in. Again, sparked by me conversation with Stevie Hoggett the other day. I haven't seen him in tonight. I wonder if he's around. There are only 3 states in life: drunk, sober, and the hour in between. I've got to tell you, I've been good this week. I do like to save the beer for a weekend, because then it's a little bit of a treat to look forward to. But not every week I make it. But I have this week. And as the weather is beginning to turn a little bit colder, as these live streams kind of stretch on into the winter, you're going to see me migrating from me summer drink, which is beer. You're going to see me sitting here with a bottle of nice whiskey on an evening, and that should be fun. We'll see how the level goes down in the bottle, shall we? Where are we? Hi, John. My studio guy wants me to publish my CD. I'm not so sure. Any advice? Well, why not? I mean, why not? What have you got to lose? Put it that way. I mean, I was selling my music, if you like, when I was at school. I used to record, and this is like really basic. This is how I started home recording. Kind of strumming chords into the little microphone on a boombox, and then playing backup, playing lead guitar over that, as that was recorded by another boombox. And I used to sell them to, for at school to me. I mean, God knows why anybody ever bought them, but they did, to me friends at school. It was just like little tunes and things that I'd made up. And, if you can't wait until the music is as perfect as you want it to be, or else you'll never sell anything. Every album I've ever released, and I've done a couple, it's there's always things I can listen back to it and think, we shouldn't have done that. If you're thinking about the price, Dave, then just use DistroKid. I mean, it's 20 quid a year, and you can release as much music as you want, and it's on Amazon, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. It's all over the place. You won't make any money, but it'll be out there. And it's like, I tend to think of it as a bit like, like having a calling card that I can send links to people, to kind of show what I do. Yes, Craig, I've done gigs like that as well. And there's that old adage, isn't there, that people say, oh, you can drink yourself sober. No, you can't. No, you can't. I've tried it. It doesn't work. Anyway, excuse me, chaps. I need a refill, I think. So, this lesson video that I'm going to do on Wednesday, as I said, I'm thinking about doing a legato lesson, because I was going to do that as a follow-up to the tapping lesson I did a while ago, and like I've done sweep picking as well. So I'm thinking maybe legato, like the whole kind of Satriani, Holdsworthy kind of legato-y sort of stuff, which you may have noticed that I tend to rely on maybe a little bit too much when I'm playing. But if anybody's got any other, any other suggestions, then I'm open to suggestions. What's that, Bob? Shop window? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you're on about there. Is that you, Gone Pix? Is it? So yes, any suggestions for the Wednesday video? As I say, I was thinking legato, but I've done hybrid picking. I've done like a beginner's guide to blues. I've done kind of every blues kind of related thing that I can think of. So like legato is the kind of rock technique that I haven't looked at. Any chance of I did sweep picking arpeggios a couple of weeks ago, Saj. But some Johnny Winter. I have got a Johnny Winter solo lined up, not next week or the week after, but it's coming soon. I'm going to be doing a Johnny Winter solo from like one of his best album. Well, probably his best album. Has anyone else got that album Let Me In, I think from about 1990 or 91 or something? That's a fantastic album, isn't it? Has to be Bossa Nova then? I don't think so then. Building speed lesson, says Steve. Yes. Well, 3 words: metronome. It's the thing about building speed. It's not about there's no one kind of thing that's about playing that helps you play fast. It's just basically avoiding the pitfalls, avoiding bad habits, of which I have a few. You'll notice that there's never much in the way of speed picking in my solos, and that's because I have possibly 1 or 2 bad habits with me picking, which I'm working on at the moment. It's just basically kind of start slow, basically, and acoustic finger picking. Done it, mate. I've done acoustic finger picking a little while ago, like a beginner's guide to finger picking. Thank you, Craig. Yes, it does look like it's coming along nicely. I'm hoping that it's going to be done kind of soon, because when it was just, lumps of wood, it was like, well, okay, it's a long way off, and you accept that it's a long way off, but now it's looking more and more like a guitar every time. Then it's like, it's so close I can touch it, how about some techniques for picking effects like ZZ Top gunshot sound and give me all of them, or sliding up and down kind of thing, palm mute and chicken picking? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's some fertile ground. I'll give that some thought. So maybe some pinched harmonics, or yeah, okay. I'll give that some thought. Right, okay. Vid on patching. Can't do it on my multi-effect pedal to save me life. Okay, so you mean like creating presets and patches? Well, you'll notice that. The last multi-effects that I sort of relied on, for a big part of my sound was obviously the Vox Tone Lab, and that had like a bazillion different kind of permutations of sound, and I used 2. I used a clean sound and a dirty sound. Whammy bar tricks. You're asking the wrong bloke, I'm afraid. I have the only guitar I've got that's got a trem is that black Strat copy that you can see. Where are we? Back there, anyway. And the most I ever do on that is just a gentle kind of Dave Gilmour or Hank Marvin kind of warble on it. It's not really my kind of thing. Be you free for the Hogger tonight? Another big thanks for. Oh, that's our Stevie's in. How are you, Steve? You're welcome, Steve. Are you not on the Yale tonight, mate? Oh, shame. I was going to neck that, but I didn't want to rub it in too much. Dirk's in. Hi, Dirk. How are you? New student, hope. Yes, Dirk's got his first lesson with me slated in pretty soon, and a fellow vapor. Yes, it's well. I don't. Basically, it's just I only vape in these live streams because I'm having a beer, and a beer without a vape is just it's just not conscionable, really. But a curry cooking lesson. Well, it's. Do you want to see me cooking? I mean, I suppose Dave's World of Fun Stuff does all of his cooking videos, doesn't he? As well as his guitar tech videos. What do you think? Oh, thank you, Con. That's very generous of you. Call your band Bill Hooks and the Folk. Yes, you've got to be of a certain vintage to get that one, haven't you? Bill Hooks and the Four Candles. Yes, indeed. Okay, Ozzy, you regularly use a Youper Live. I'm using it to construct harmonies before the gig. It's like a whole new world of live gigs. Yeah, I did some live gigs about 6-7 years ago with a little one of those little TC Electronic Ditto looper pedals. It's a way of acclimatizing, you know, but it's the textures you can build up with a looper. I should really get a looper pedal and do a video on that, but it's just like there are so many other good looping videos out there that it's like, well, what can I add? You're shouting and bassing with a band Abaddon tomorrow. Oh, dear me, you're gigging tomorrow, are you, Steve? Or are you recording, mate? A lesson on how to make a backing track. Okay, well, that's something, isn't it? Yes. I shall give that some thought. I've done lessons on home recording, like a basic home recording kind of thing, in the past, but I've never done the actual process of putting a track together. Curry cooking whilst completely smashed. Yeah, you're right, Malcolm. I mean, that's what I mean. Danish Pete, you know, you look at it, him kind of using a looper. He's an absolute artist with it. And, you know, I'm just thinking, well, what can I do that a guy like Danish Pete hasn't done? You go and get yourself a drink, Dirk. Good for you, mate. What about the intro to Reeling in the Years with tips for that throaty tone? Yeah, it's a point. I haven't done a Steely Dan lesson. I did ages ago. It's got to be a couple of years ago now. I did Kid Charlemagne. I did the Kid Charlemagne solo in a video, and I think I've learned quite a bit more about how to make videos in the interim since then. So maybe I should do another Steely Dan video. And Reeling in the Years. I mean, that first album for me it's a perfect album. You know, there's not a track that you want to skip past on it at all. You know, Reeling in the Years and, you know, Dirty Work, and, you know, just a fantastic album. I absolutely love it. Rehearsal, is it, Steve? Remember Vernon? Well, it's the drummer Tony Bray is very noisy. Yes, well, drummers are noisy, aren't they, Steve? It's just part and parcel of who they are. You know, I mean, that cliche of Animal from the Muppets, that wasn't far off the truth, was it? Where are we? You think you're playing like a god when you're drunk, but then you hear a recording of it. Yes. As I say, playing when drunk, it's not a good experience. Oh, dear me, chaps. We'll have to stretch this beer out. It's my last one. Well, it's not my last one, but it's the last one I brought up with me. Yeah, Midnight Cruiser, fantastic track, mate. Fantastic. As I say, that first album, it's some of their albums, you know, I mean, The Royal Scam's good. Pretzel Logic, I would say, is probably my favourite Steely Dan album. And, you know, it's some of them, you know, take them or leave them. But, you know, when I love a Steely Dan album, it's just like there's tends to not be a bad track on it. Okay, Ozzy, so you got some Looper arrangements. Hotel California with harmonies is a good one. Heroes by Bowie and a few backing tracks in the memory. Can really pick things up. Yeah, I've never had a looper pedal where you can actually load stuff into it. It's just the only one I've ever had is that Ditto looper. So what's that other guitar? What do you mean, Jeff? Behind me, it's a Harley Benton SC Junior single cut, and it's going up against. Let's see if I can turn the laptop round and show you. Is that the right direction? Yeah, there you go. You can see there's an Epiphone there, a little Epiphone kind of twin pickup Junior kind of thing. Oh, Guitar Rig is a looper pedal. I've never looked into that aspect of it, to be honest with you. What's the best Steely Dan album, John? Well, I've already said, Steve. It's in my humble opinion, for me, it's Pretzel Logic. I love everything about that album. There's a few albums that are just perfection for me that you never have to think, yeah, well, that track's a bit of a filler. Even some of my favourite artists, you know, there's albums where, you know, you think, yeah, that one, skip, you know. But Pretzel Logic, and another perfect album for me, in my opinion, is Crime of the Century, Supertramp. Again, just perfection in every track. Where are we? How old is too old to learn guitar? Well, the oldest guy I've ever taught was 86. Fella called George, and he's, you know, I haven't heard from him in a while. I'm hoping he's okay, but you know, he got to the point where he could play, you know, a few of his favorite Glenn Campbell tunes and stuff, and you know, he's last I heard of him, he's currently you know, just entertaining his carers and stuff with you know, renditions of as I say, Rhinestone Cowboy and so on. Have you ever played the Harley Benton DC Junior with a P90? Most guitar YouTube seems to love it. Well, I've not played the DC Junior, but I have got. I keep talking about this. Hang on. I have got the SC Junior, and I finished filming the review of this today, and that is going up on Tuesday. And as I say, it's kind of pitted against a similarly priced Epiphone. Not exactly the same, but you know, a similar kind of take, an entry-level, stripped-down Les Paul kind of thing. Why do guitarists preferring guitar to cycling? Because with a bike you only get two pedals. Am I the only guitar player who, you know, just can't be bothered with pedals, really? I know I mean, maybe it's because I sort of, I didn't have a lot of pedals when I was kind of learning, and I learned my craft as a guitar player with, as you saw the other day, a Coron fuzz box and a Melos echo unit into a Laney Mighty 50. So I had one pedal, and and then by then it was the 80s, and everybody was saying, "Oh, rack mounted equipment, that's what," and I got into that for a while. And and then pedals have just sort of come back in the past couple of 3 years, or past 10 years or so, I suppose, where pedals are now the kind of in vogue accessory for guitar players. And I had my kind of sound and my likes and dislikes kind of sorted by then. Reverb, delay, and distortion. What else do you need? Well, exactly. And as I said a little while ago, when I was doing the best rig for a covers band guitar, it's one of the best sets I've ever seen by a covers band. The guy had a 2-channel amp and a foot switch for the guitar, and that was it, and a foot switch to change channels rather, and that was it. And it's it's just I'm not a big pedal guy, it has to be said. Where are we? You have to learn to tap dance during the gigs, though. Yes, indeed. This is it. And, this for me in the 80s was the whole kind of, the kind of godsend that rack mounted equipment was, when I finally got into that, which was by then it was the early 90s. If you want to go from like a clean sound with chorus and reverb to a lead sound with overdrive and delay, you've got to turn you've got to kind of like turn pedals off and turn pedals on, and you're kind of doing all of this all in that instant when you launch into your solo. And it was like, I wonder if there's a way I could do this all with just one pedal tap. And then of course that was like the dawn of like the programmable effects and everything, or when it became affordable. And and that was when I started getting into stuff, and it was just going back to individual pedals to turn this on and turn that off and turn this on and turn that off. I never kind of quite got back into that. Yeah, guitar, amp, and channel selector, and I'm happy. Yep, and I can't remember who it was, but someone said when I was doing a thing about guitar effects, it says, once the sound, something like a drummer once told him, it says, once your guitar sound gets past you, no one cares about it, and I have to say, I watched a live gig. It was on the TV of Rush. I think it was from their Snakes and Arrows tour. And Alex Lifeson had like the biggest pedal board you could see in front of him. And his sound was just really, it was like it was blurry. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't distinct, and you couldn't really make out a lot of what he was doing. And I'm not saying that's the fault of the pedals. I'm just saying that, maybe if he was just going straight into the amp, it would have been a little bit more kind of direct and in your face for his solos and stuff. Where are we? Paul from the Choir Boys just said, use your volume knob to clean up, and I hung out with him. Yep. Again, I'm a big fan of that. Again, just cutting me teeth with minimal equipment because I was a skint teenager. You learn to use the volume control on your guitar, to sort of clean things up a little bit. On some rigs, I suppose you can go from a kind of proper clean tone to like a full on, high gain tone just by the volume, just by using the volume control. But I've always thought, well, as long as I always think, well, can I play a minor chord with that sound? Because you know how when you play a minor chord with a load of overdrive, it sounds, kind of mushy and kind of flabby and not particularly nice. If I can clean a minor chord up to the sound to the point where it sounds good, then that's clean enough for me, usually. The only pedals I use are the accelerator, clutch, and brake. Yeah, compression pedal. Yeah, I used to use one of those, Bob, when I used to play in a band and we had some clean guitar solos to do. So I used to use it as a boost for like clean lead parts, just to kind of get that clean sound up above the rest of the band. How many guitar players does it cover a Stevie Ray Vaughan tune? Evidently, all of them. Yes, indeed, and they all have an opinion on which version of the Tube Screamer he should have used or did use or whatever. A lot of pro bands now have a tech changing their sounds backstage now, so they don't have to worry. Yeah. I guess the first guy who I heard of doing that was Prince. Apparently, he used to have a guy backstage kind of working the wah-wah for him, She's just like, that's your job. Sit and rock your foot on that wah-wah. So yeah, I mean, that's just, it's one of those things, isn't it? And I suppose if you want, I mean, back in the 80s again, there was like the whole sort of Pete Cornish and Bob Bradshaw kind of rigs where you could kind of use your favorite old 70s Boss chorus pedal and all of your old kind of vintage pedals, but have them programmable via like a stage rig. But like as you say, a lot of bands they just have a guy backstage doing the tap dancing routine for you. It takes a bit of the spontaneity out of it, though, I always thought. I think your signature guitar is coming out. You should review it on Andertons. Again, with this Andertons stuff, if they ask, I'll go. But, I don't want to be seen to be kind of saying, can I come and have a talk, please? It's as I say, if they ask, I'll go and have a natter with Lee. Seems like a nice chap. But I am looking forward to that signature guitar, has to be said. A lot of pro bands are playing along with a computerized click track that is doing all the switching, volume changes, etc. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's this whole kind of thing about amp sims as well. People, it's go and listen to a live band, and you'll hear a real amp. Yeah, most of the time you'll be hearing a Kemper or an Axe-Fx. Yeah, didn't have Boss pedals when you started in the 60s, Dave. No, no. It's. I often wonder what a guitar player like Hendrix would have done with with a modern pedal board. On John's advice, I set Blue Cat free amps in Cakewalk, and they're awesome amps with no latency through a Behringer UMC interface with yeah, pretty much exactly what I use. I've kind of started using Guitar Rig more for me lead sounds. and for me clean sounds as well, because it's just because of the way I record, I tend to kind of pan, double track and pan left and right, and for reasons that are a bit technical after a few beers, it's easier to do that with Guitar Rig. But for just for the sheer tone you get out of that Blue Cat preamp plugin, it's amazing. Yeah, Geddy Lee stopped using bass amps years ago, went over to Sans amp. Yes, and that was that gig that I saw, that Snakes and Arrows tour. He used to have, because obviously they aren't gigging now. He used to have like just stuff on the stage behind the gig I saw. There was a rotisserie kind of chicken kind of thing where his bass cabs would be, and this kind of thing just with like chickens roasting on it, and every now and again a guy would come out in a chef's hat and kind of take the cooked chickens out. When Rush recorded Permanent Waves, Alex Lifeson took his amp outside and used the Rockies for reverb. Fair enough. What was that recording studio in? Was it the Power Station in New York where the stairwell was like the most beautiful sounding reverb ever, and like everybody used to use that stairwell as a reverb, kind of set their amp up in that stairwell and just kind of record it there. And then the fire inspector came round and said, oh, you need to change this and you need to change that, and it completely ruined the reverb. A lot of younger players seem to be into the whole silent stage thing now. It ain't rock and roll to me, I'm afraid. No. There is a thing about, kind of, I don't like it. Well, I'm not gigging at the moment, but, when I do gig, I don't like it ferociously loud on stage, because I find that when the volume gets too high, your sense of pitch goes. And especially if you're a guitar player and bending strings and stuff, that can affect that. But I do like it to be, I do like it to feel like, you're playing in a rock and roll band and you've got like a bit of grunt there, it has to be said. Bottleneck Bob, you're still struggling with the DAW and interface. I'll tell you what, mate. Just drop me an email and I'll see what I can do to help. Okay. All these kids want to be Ed Sheeran. Yes, indeed. It's well, Ed Sheeran's music isn't to my taste. I'll say that. But you know what? He's a guy who's picked up a guitar and written songs, and he plays songs that are all around, based around playing stuff on the guitar rather than kind of mouse clicks and copy and paste, which I got to give him some respect for that. I used to watch a live local band. They weren't young'uns, and the guitarist lugged 100-watt 2B12 into the pub every week. Yeah, well, that was just what you used to do. I mean, I remember playing the clubs, and like whoever the architects were that designed these working men's clubs that I used to play, and I guess it must have been the same guy, and I'm kind of extrapolating here a little bit, but I'm assuming he was probably a frustrated musician and hated all musicians, because they always used to put the concert room like up about 5 flights of stairs that you've got to kind of wrestle bass bins around, the kind of where the stairs turn round and stuff, and it was all just part of the fun of gigging, apparently. Yeah, drop me an email, Bob. I doubt you'll get a response tonight because of, well, this, but I shall see what I can do to help you out, mate. Yes, Craig. Amp sims are good. I'm going to try out that that thing that Steve Hoggart mentioned about putting that little valve preamp pedal into the front end of the interface, just to see what difference that makes. I've got one of those on order. We'll see when it turns up and possibly do a review. Ed Sheeran learned to play violin so that it could play I See Fire. I didn't know that. Hey, let's make the stage door just big enough to squeeze a bass amp through. Better put a few more stairs in there as well. Yes, that was it. And every working men's club you play, there's a dressing room the size of a postage stamp, and every single broken chair and table in the club is crammed in there because, hey, it's only the band, isn't it? Remember Newcastle Labour Club? Yes, Das. I've played that many times. We used to call it with the moon because it was 5 miles high and had no atmosphere. I'm working with my Star Wars Magnum Opus. It will go down well in the old folks clubs I'm playing lately. Yes, indeed, it will. Anyway. Right, chaps, I'm out of beer and I'm hungry and I'm wanting a curry, and we've been on roughly an hour. So I'm going to call time there, folks. Thank you once again for everyone, who's turned up. Sorry, Kieran, you've missed it this week, mate. Thank you, everyone, for turning up. I'm humbled beyond words that you turn up here on every Friday to watch a fat lad drink beer and talk nonsense, but you seem to like it, so I'll keep on doing it. And I will see you all again in the next video. So for now, I'll just say, time, gentlemen, please.